But it's mellow madness, because you will ask yourself the question, what were they thinking about, the angry man, when they did what they did? And then you got to ask the men, what are they thinking about, the angry man, when they allow the behaviors of some of these modern women?
Y'all, I'm tired. I no longer want to be an independent woman. Forget that INDE. I'm good. I want to be a housewife. Listen, the next man that has good credit, a stable home, finances is straight, baby, I'm marrying you. Yes, sir, I am. I'm not an alpha female no more. I've learned my lesson. Baby, I will be submissive to you. Baby, I will cook for you. I will clean for you. Yes, daddy, whatever you need. You want sex when you want it? Yes, sir, you got it. Baby, you want a meal at 3 o'clock in the morning? Yes, sir, you got it. Take care of me. Because this working 2 jobs, although I love being a registered nurse, I love my profession. Let me just work as needed. Let me work when I want to work. I'm over it. I'm tired, y'all. So hook your luck. I'm looking for a husband. I'm ready to be a housewife.
I'm tired of America. So I'm hitting Richie on the net. I got the tickets, that's a bet. We need the link, my brother set it up. Damn, I didn't had enough. Ooh, I won't lie. Can I get a little shake with them fries? My skin tone is matching your eyes. Black men, you know we like them thighs. And baby, she can do it all. Your land is my land. Cut through.
Hit that like button. Go ahead, do it now before I reach out into that screen and twist your hand like Aunt Esther. Hit the like button. Thank you.
Destroy.
All right, guys, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it on tonight. And before we get into it, guys, she won't let you lead unless you do what I said, or more or less unless you do these few things. And you might ask yourself the question, why is the kosher clinician, a licensed therapist, so passionate about the rights of men? Well, I'm passionate because I see the pain of men in practice. I see the thinking errors that so many men go through. I see the behaviors of modern women, white and black. It supersedes race or ethnicity. And I see them compromising their power. And so she'll let you be the king if you do this, because see, just like the movie, The Woman King, which is an oxymoron, and even though the movie in itself was predicated on a fictitious association with the Dahomey conquering white men, it was loosely exaggerated. Many women will let you be the king, but in actuality, she's using reverse psychology on you, and she'll make you think you're the king, but in actuality, guys, you're just her rat. You're her rat. You're the king rat, and she's really the king. And what she's doing, she's playing you, because see, what you don't understand about modern women is this. I didn't say it. The gospel said it. It said it's an age-old thing since the fall of man. It said that she will have a desire for her husband. And it basically means is that she want power. She want to be the power broker in the relationship. She want to tell you what to do. Or she want an egalitarian relationship where there's two captains of the ship. And that's why the world is so messed up now. You know, our children are out of control. You know, our women are out of control because when masculine men begin to speak, they call it toxic. They're trying to shame you into silence. They'll say you're mean because they don't want to do what they need to do. And they don't want to do what they need to do because they're rebellious. They have not more or less calibrated what's spiritual, and they have not calibrated what's right. And because of that, not only are the children suffering, they're suffering. They're suffering because they have forfeited their place. See, a dear friend of mine said that she doesn't understand the assignment. And see, once a woman understands the assignment, then everything works good, not only for her, but also for the man, the children, the family, and the community. But watch this. You can't have a community of broken vessels. You can't have a community of women that have been severely imprinted by multiple men. And while there are some that are passionate about their cause and their pursuits, as I did the show the other night, unless God builds a house, the laborer builds it in vain. Unless he builds the house, you know, it's built in vain. And see, we were good as a nation in the past because he built the house. And while it wasn't perfect, there was an understanding about the commonality, a tradition that all ethnic groups have followed since the beginning of time. The men were the men, the providers, the protectors. The women were the nurturers, and the children were placed in a position to be healthy and whole. But nowadays, you know, they want men to come back, you know, to a bad deal. You know, the laws haven't changed. They've gotten worse. It's never her fault because she don't take accountability. And even the women that are trying to change the trajectory of the culture, they don't want to hear it because their hearts are dark. And they don't want to take accountability because, see, if they take accountability, guys, they're going to be just like, you know, Smeagol off Lord of the Rings. And that's what modern women do, guys, when you hold them accountable. They get a schema affliction because they'll say, ain't no man gonna tell me what to do. Only person to tell me what to do is God, or only God can judge me. Or they can hear their mom say, child, you don't let no man control you, because see, that daughter has learned to revel through the vicarious trauma of her mother. And because she's learned that, she's learned a maladaptive schema. And that schema is causing her to not only have chaos internally within herself, because see, the feminine wants to submit to the masculine, but it's causing chaos in relationships and also in communities. And that's why these shows are important, because just like it says in Meta Madness, what were they thinking about when they allowed the behaviors, or more or less committed the behaviors that they were doing? Their metacognitive faculties are not intact. And so we're going to get into it, guys. We're going to get into it on the night. And we're going to pluck a duck, because, see, these ducks don't want to change. It's hard to find swans in modern times. And we're going to pluck these ducks. We're going to pluck the duck as it relates to the behaviors of modern women. Because, see, every time you challenge those bad behaviors, they'll say you're despicable, just like Daffy Duck, because, you know, they don't want to be held accountable. And listen, we know there are some men going around causing chaos. Some of these men are horrible. They're deplorable. I think it's a smaller percentage. It's definitely a percentage. I don't know the number, but I think it's not as big. But the point is, there's a percentage of men that's also part of the problem. And, you know, they're going around lying to women, being snake whisperers, causing chaos. They're simp surfers. They chide masculinity because they never had a father to tell them what it was like to be a man. And anytime men begin to speak, they have their own issues because they weren't raised by masculine men. They were raised by their mama. You know, they were raised by their mama. And see, when they get mad at you and you try to hold them accountable, you know, they're going to fight you because, you know, they don't use logic and rationale. They you know, when he get mad, he think just like his mom.
Oh, yeah, put chain on the walls on my mom. That be broken mom. Kill some of my mom. Bro, they back me look like gang. That's on my mom. Gang. That's on my mom. Gang. That's on my mom.
And see, when they say "or my mama," they don't even understand that they are deferring to the emotions of their mother. Yeah, and they might mean well because their mama is what raised them. But see, you could tell a community that's not strong with masculine influence because everything is deferred to their mama, because many times our culture does not, in large, don't appreciate wholesome men. It doesn't appreciate the average man. It does not appreciate the blue-collar man. And that's why we have the meta madness permeating in our society now. And true to what the great teachers, Jesus said, but also some of the prophets, things will wax worse and worse. And it's gotten worse since I was in the 90s, and it's getting worse because we don't know the difference between what a man and a woman is in this world that we live in now. But, you know, some say save the community, but you can't save a community that's devoid of masculinity. You can't save a community where the community does not respect the giver of life. You can't save it. It has to be burnt down. It has to be burnt down, and it is going to be burnt down. And it's sad, you know, but you know that's the recompense of error. There's consequences for bad behavior. But she don't want you guys to be king because she wants you to be a rat. And she wants you to be a rat because she got a satanic ego. She thinks that she's supposed to be over you, just like in the movie The Woman King, which is an oxymoron, by the way. And I understand that some say that's not what it meant. That's not the point. The point is it's oxymoronic to say woman king because a woman cannot be a king. It's foolish. But see, modern women have penis envy, guys. You know, they want to be just like you. They want power. They want the responsibility. They want the power of a man, the privilege of a woman. But as someone said, the responsibility of a child. And she don't want you to be the king. She wants you to be a man that's broken, and she wants you to be a man that more or less placates to her whim and her will. And in a nutshell, she wants you to be a rat. And you know, you would think, guys, that being a man, you're all that she needs. You would think
my life wasn't perfect, yeah, I know that now.
You are all that this woman needs to help her fulfill her mission. But see, it's never enough, guys, for the modern woman. You see now that women get divorced on high rates. You know, they'll get rid of you in a heartbeat because they say, I don't feel like being married anymore. And sometimes because of no-fault divorce, men are getting divorced for foolish reasons, not, you know, anything of substance, but for foolish reasons. And that's why so many men are frustrated. They're tired because they say that enough is never enough. And see, men are more at risk for suicide and self-deletion and depression when they get divorced because they got a greater thing to lose. And I'm not against marriage. I think marriage is a beautiful institution when all the elements in the right place. I think men and women are best when the woman and man are together. But you cannot do it until the laws change or men get male rights and male equality, and there's comprehensive prenups or maybe marriage or contracts. But once again, guys, it's never enough. You know, you would think that you're all that she needs, but it's never enough. And the acronym for RAT is that she wants your resources, she wants your attention, she wants your time, and she wants security and settlement. And she's going to just give you sex, you know, sex that she gave Raekwon, Man, Shermite, Day, Chorenzo. You know, she gave it to them for free. And she going to make you jump through hoops. She going to make you pay the full price after she had her fun because, see, the sexual revolution told women they can, you know, do what they wanted to do. And there was a time, guys, when black women in general were very conservative, chaste, respectable women. Like the Dorothy Dandridges or the, you know, the Fannie Lou Hamers. They were women not only conservative in their dress, but they had a modicum of decorum. That they had a decorum that was synonymous to being a virtuous woman. But now being virtuous is bad. Being right is bad. Being a husband is boring. Telling the truth is telling a lie. Telling the truth, guys, is the new bash. And because of that, guys, we have what's called Meta Madness. And the Meta Madness, you will ask yourself the question, what were they thinking about? And that's why we're having these issues in our society and community now, because, see, folks don't want to hear the truth. But we're going to play this clip. This clip was a classic clip that took a lot of time, and we're going to break it down because, see, we got to understand what's going on in order to heal, but it's going to take many generations. It won't happen in my lifetime. It might not even happen in your children's lifetime. It's going to take some of cataclysmic proportion to change the trajectory of what we're dealing with in this current time or this current milieu that we live in. So I'm going to review this clip real quick, guys. We're going to review hold tight.
Or nothing. Because they deserve love.
And, you know, as I told you, this woman was very passionate in her pursuits for seeing change in the world. And once again, kudos to her. But sadly, passion is not enough. As I said earlier, unless God build a house, the labor build it in vain. You can't expect men to save a community regardless of your passion if you don't understand that the foundation must be purified, the foundation must be kosher. If the foundation is not kosher, then it would never work. It's something called a cost-benefit analysis. But we're going to get into it, guys. Hold tight.
I'm sorry. But our kids, no one's talking about them. Who they going to go to? Who they supposed to look up to? We keep talking how bad black women are, but let's show some good black women. So these little girls have something to look up to.
And shout out to that sister for striving to do the right thing. You know, perhaps she have seen the error her way in the past. Shout out to that sister. But by and large, you know, good black women are hard to find. Are they out here? Yes. Are some of them silent? Yes. Are some of them in a silo? Because, you know, I believe that. But I do believe that more bad than good exists. And some have been so indoctrinated by liberalism and liberal policies that they are not even aware of their behaviors when it comes down to regality and when it comes down to doing what's right. But we're going to finish listening to what the sister's saying from this clip that I did a couple of days ago. And now you guys are understanding that she'll let you be the king once you do this. Because, see, you can't be the king in America. And if you are the king, you got to make sure that woman was not heavily imprinted or she was raised in a traditional home. And even then, it sometimes can be a constant war because it's in the nature of human beings, men and women. But keep listening.
I'm so tired of all the bashing and content creators trying to prove points because we're still hurting. And
I understand, once again, Courtney's passion, but listen, YouTube is a business. You know, sadly, controversy sell, and it's, you know, content creators got the right to do what they want to do. I don't think, you know, I'm sure some are probably doing it for whatever ulterior motives, but I'm doing it for solely male empowerment. And part of content creation is to more or less understand the trends. And once you understand those said trends, then trying to make videos that are not only synonymous to your worldview, but also synonymous to what you're trying to push as it relates to an agenda. But see, here's the problem, guys. Wholesome stuff don't sell. Wholesome stuff is boring. I remember some content creators said that when they try to do things about male empowerment or women talk, you know, folks don't want to hear that. And so one of the things I try to do as a content creator is trying to infuse clinical concepts with the art of life and then more or less paint a picture like Jesus did. He used parable to convey the mysteries of heaven. And once again, shout out to this sister for being passionate in her pursuits. But I think I was even listening to what Sarazal Ali was saying. She said that it's over. She said that it's going to take years to get this thing right. And that's all I was saying. That's all I think most people are saying. It's a futile effort, and men don't have long to wait, especially the young men, even some of the older men that are my age that are single. You just don't have enough time to wait. So, you know, shout out to this sister because she did say that men should go abroad, but you know, passion alone is not going to save this world, and I stand on that. But hold tight. Keep listening.
I'm not out here trying to be the best content creator or who's a pick me. I don't give a damn. What about their children?
Expect more women who claim to have black men's best interests at heart to
And you know, imagine a world, God, if we had more women that were clarion callers. some are called Chantel because they say, oh, she's Jamaican, she's not ADOS, which I think is foolish because the truth is the truth regardless of your ethnicity. I understand that unless you live in America, perhaps you might not get the whole picture. But common sense is just common sense. It can be from Pakistan, it can be from India, and we understand that there are cultural appropriations. But to minimize what she's saying because she's from Jamaica, to me, is stupid. Especially if it's the truth, and especially if she's advocating for men in America, especially if she's advocating for men in general. Any woman that allies or aligns herself with the pain and the struggle of men, regardless, is a good woman. Even Jesus said to the Jews, he said, who is my brother? He said that he that does the will of the Father is my brother. And basically what he was saying, that it superseded the ethnicity, which was Jewish at the time. It's called the universality of consciousness. If her consciousness is on par with helping black men to get better outcomes, then I'm going to align myself with those women, regardless if they're American or from whatever country. And we understand that there are nuances to the conversation. But if she's saying, or any other woman from another country is saying, listen, let's support black men, let's support boys, then I'm going to rock with them. And I stand on that. Hold tight.
To support, promote, and encourage men to get their passports. Because as a Peaceful Life just said, it's complete and even as Courtney admitted earlier, the dating market is complete trash. And I understand that not every man wants to go overseas, but if you want a wife, it makes a lot more sense to go overseas for a wife.
And I'm gonna say something to you single men that have not traveled. Of course you say you want to stay here in America, and if you want to, that's fine. But what I will say, explore your options. Women abroad are not perfect. Women abroad got issues. Women abroad got game. If you are a simp and you don't understand how much power you have in America, you'll go over there messing their ecosystem up. You'll be a simp in other countries because female nature is female nature. I've said it over and over again. Female nature is female nature. Women by nature want to look up to a man. The only thing in foreign countries that normally you get a prettier woman, a woman that's more wife ready, and because she has not been conditioned to have power like women here in America, she's more willing to submit to order and authority because she's been raised and trained to honor and obey her husband. On the flip side, that man has been conditioned to submit by loving her, dying for her, and providing for her. So until you travel, you don't know what you're missing, because that's why I said there are 7 steps that a man must go through, and world travel will help you understand how much power you have. Once you see women in other countries and how they move and how they're feminine, you'll never look at American women the same again. And I know there are some good young women in America that are looking for husbands, and I pray that you find a good man here in America. But sadly, being average in America is not enough. James Ingram said it better. He said, I gave my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. And you hear it all too often. You guys gonna hear in this clip the level of narcissism and entitlement from so many of these modern women. Hold tight.
Wife, instead of holding out for the few women who are listening to Courtney Michelle's, listening to Danica Marie and changing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 1 in 1,000 of those women who are actually doing the work, the true work. And not even to mention the ones who don't already have the baggage that men don't want. Because I find that a lot of times, these women who are willing to do the work already have. And
Chantel is right. Imagine you being a single man. You went to school, you studied hard, you put in your work, you put in work. To the women that are listening, that might be single moms and you got boys, I promise you that if your son was an engineer, if your son was a scholar, if your son was making excellent money, he was an athlete, I don't think you would want your son to marry a woman, whether she's white or black, that made bad choices. Say she had, 7 kids by 7 different men, or 6 kids by 4 or 6 kids by 2 different men. I don't think as a mother you would want your son to be part of that. I think you would want your son to get the best bang for his buck. And I don't want to hear folks say, "Oh, if they're in love," I don't care. No, it ain't got nothing to do with no love. It's more than love, because marriage is a business. Women fall in love, they fall out of love. That's why I tell men you should never fall in love. You should love her within reason, because love is an emotion that comes and goes. You can't have a woman that can protect your ego as a man unless she is disciplined. Because once again, she wants to be the king in the relationship. She wants to be the king in the relationship. And she wants you to be her rat. She'll let you be the king as long as you understand that in actuality, you're just her rat. And when you stop being her rat, she's going to show you who the true king is because she has the backing of the government. Just like Viola Davis had the backing of Hollywood to project an image that's antithetical to masculinity, but also oxymoronic. And that's why we have these conversations, because you have to modify your thought processes in order to get the outcomes that you so deserve. Keep listening.
Either past the wall, they're somebody's baby mama, or something wrong with them that men would have.
And I know because I have 8 years of experience and I talk to the women.
So what's the...
And then you got guys, what's called the passport pirates, you know. They got black men names in their mouths, you know. You got the Pookie Macs. If you don't have the Pookie Macs, you got some of these women, you know. But these same women won't say nothing when Stella was getting her groove back, when other women from other countries were going abroad and traveling. Some of these women have traveled abroad and been hoeing around with other men. Some even having children by other men. From Gambia to Negra, Jamaica, white women have been doing it. And men in general have been doing it. White men have been doing it forever. Going to Asia, Africa, and all across the world. But as soon as black men do it, because, you know, we're just the muse of society, it's a problem. And many times, guys, you know, these passport pirates, you know, they'll be on my screen, on my show, trying to cause chaos because many times they have the Stockholm syndrome, and they want you to continue to be a slave.
Give me a line. Give me a line. Get in line now. Straight up.
Yeah, and they'll sit back with their mouth poked out, you know, sitting in the corner because they don't want you to be free. See, Pookie Max and some of these women, they want to shame you into silence. They'll say, "Oh, you got to use game. You just don't got game. You just don't know how to talk to women." You know, and who would use game on a product that's inferior? You don't have to use game. You should have some level of comprehensive conversation with women. I understand that. But all this comprehensive game where you got to talk and, and use manipulation to get a woman or to talk to a woman, men didn't have to do that years ago. I do understand you got to have some base level conversation. But see, in other countries, they don't play games. You know, they like you, it's genuine. But only here in America, you got to jump through hoops and, you got to run game and give your best to subpar women. And I keep telling you, man, you have more power than you realize. And that's why some of these women, these hyenas, these hyenas are so angry because they're losing power, because she wants you. She wants you to be a supply man. She don't really love you. She wants you to be a supply man, which is a rat. Resources, attention, time, security, and settlement for sex that she gave to Raekwon and Man for free. And Chantel is correct, to say the least. Hold tight.
What's the problem, though? You haven't said the problem yet. What's
Okay,
the
the
actual
problem is they're selling lies. That's the problem. They're
Okay,
selling
women in
lies.
the U.S. are selling lies, too.
Quick question, ma'am. Are you the same one who was commenting on my post, and when I asked you to come up, you ran?
No, I didn't run. You started insulting my daughter.
And guys, here's the next crisis that we have here in America, something called dysfunction. Once again, she'll let you be the king as long as you understand that you're really just a rat. You see it all times, even in the electoral college, in the election process. You got old hens like Maxine Waters that tell men to fall in line, more or less, or like this big buttercup, no voting, no vucking, and they always use men that are emasculated, to represent masculinity. They always use men that like the masculine je ne sais quoi to tell men that you do have power, that you do have rights, that you do have a level of self-dignity and respect that you don't have to tolerate. But see, nowadays masculinity is under attack, and anything associated with masculinity is put to shame. And that's why we have what's called meta madness. That's why I decided to use this series, because it's part of what's called metacognitions, to think about what you're thinking about. And most folks don't think about what they're thinking about. They just do it because they're phantom walkers. They're phantom walkers. And not only are they phantom walkers, guys, they have a condition that's not only nefarious, but they have a condition called something a lot of women and men have, but especially our women. But they have a condition, hold tight, called egocentria. And see, egocentria is part of delusion. They think that what they're doing is right. When you see guys, telling you no voting, no fucking, they think they're supposed to tell you as a grown man to be a rat. They think it's right to tell you as a grown man that you can only be the king unless she give you the power to be the king. And some of you men have been so marginalized and so conditioned to be unconscious simps because you supplement irrational male patterns. You have a pattern of behavior that's synonymous to deferring instead of demanding. And you demand power when you've done the right thing. And I'm not talking about the Pookie Macs of the world or the Day-Days and the Raekwons that are sitting on the bed, or these predatory men that are snake whisperers. I'm not talking about them. But I'm talking about hard-working blue-collar men, hard-working white-collar men, the hard-working average guy that don't get the time of day here in America. That's what I'm talking about. But keep listening as I break this critique down.
Yeah. Trade tracks, I think we got one. It's voting season, bruh.
No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking. No voting, no fucking. No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting.
And all too often, guys, dysfunction has become the new norm in America now. Up is down and down is up. Right is wrong and wrong is right. And so to those that want to save a community, you cannot unless the master builder builds the community. Unless God builds the house. Once again, the book of Proverbs, the worker builds it in vain. He builds it in vain because it's not built on principles and also things that are synonymous to masculinity, to femininity, family, and community. It must de-evolve before it can evolve. I'm going to say it again. It must de-evolve before it can evolve into a community that's not only substantial, but a community that's part of love, honor, and respect. And we don't have any love, honor, and respect. Not only that, you got women now that don't want to say, I'm going to love, honor, and obey my husband, because they say they are Christians, but when they go look at Titus 3:5 clearly say, wives, obey your husbands. But they come in with a deficit mindset because they've been hurt, some of them, or some are just rebellious. And all of it ain't trauma. Oh, I'm just going to do trauma. No, yeah, it ain't no trauma. You didn't go do nothing like what your grandmothers went through. So I don't want to hear that goofy mess about trauma. Some of it is just unconscious foolishness. Some of it is rebellion. And some of it's living through negative socialization because you want to do what you want to do. Some of you want to grow up in good homes. Some of you had good fathers. But you rejected the admonition of your fathers and you rebelled. And because of that, now you're going to suffer the recompense of your error. And I'm going to tell you men something. When they rebel, you got to let them go through it. Don't try to save them for the consequences. They got to go through the consequences because they willfully chose to rebel against your order and your structure, especially if you're a good, noble man that's striving to do the right thing for your family and your children and your community. And that's the problem now. We don't want to hear the truth anymore. Because the truth is the new bashing. If you tell folks the truth now, oh, you're bashing me. Oh, you hate women. And, your mama's black. Goofy stuff. Because they don't want to hear the truth. And, you can't restructure or modify bad thoughts. That's why in therapy we say you can't get help unless you understand that you have a thinking error called denial. Until you acknowledge what your issues are, you will continue to go down that deep rabbit hole. And, and one of the reasons why I had the blue lens, because so many men, they are blue pilled. And until they have an existentialist crisis, then they'll realize that what they thought was right is in actuality really wrong. Keep listening. Hold tight.
No nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking.
I'm BDF, baby daddy free. That mean I ain't got a baby coming
coming out of me. So I'm ABORTING. On my way to the clinic, I forgot the plan B. Let's go. Bitch, I got murder on my mind. Let's go. Bitch, I got murder on my mind. Let's go. Yeah.
And we say, save a community where we don't even value the sanctity of life. And, you got some of these women that say, oh, we're supposed to, black women are not protected. But yet, black women are complicit in the infanticide of babies at a higher rate than any other ethnic group. I understand that sometimes, and I struggle with it, but under certain circumstances, I understand. I get it. I get it under certain circumstances like rape, incest, or something like that. I understand. I totally get it. That part is more understandable. But when it comes down to this using, infanticide as a means, or baby deletion as a means, just because you were having casual fun, because you were, loose and promiscuous, and then you say, now, I was gonna keep, you killing or more or less deleting babies from sports sex, then I got a problem with that. But you say, let's build a community when you're killing the warriors and you're killing the future nurturers, the boys and the little girls, especially the little boys. You got social commentaries now that talk about the deletion of little boys. We laugh at it and we mock it because, now it's okay to disrespect and to denigrate black men. We're just, dummies. We don't know any better. Men in general are dummies because of the spirit of the Antichrist. But they say, oh, we need to be, nobody's protecting us. Oh, we're black men, and, they delete black women, and they're always killing us. Not understanding that all ethnic groups are complicit in domestic issues. White men, have domestic issues with white women. Black men have domestic issues with black women. Indian men have domestic issues with Indian women. My point is, human issues are endemic to all human beings. It's just part of it. But, you're making it seem like it's a damn national crisis, because you're always in this victim mindset. You're always in a victim mindset. And that's why you'll never grow. That's why you'll never learn, because you're a victim. But see, the same women, and still, once again, telling black men to be subjugates, you should tell more or less not only march for black men, but and march for men in general, but tell these women to change behavior and say, until you women get your act together, then these men, don't expect these men to come back and waste their time saving women that are not worthy of saving. Women that have been heavily imprinted, women that have psychological issues. And some of the women, bless their hearts, they got husbands. Shout out to them. But in general, many of them won't get husbands and don't deserve a husband because they don't understand the assignment. The assignment is to serve. The assignment is to nurture. The assignment is to set the tone for the home, but also not only setting the tone for the home, but setting the tone for the community. But anytime men say anything, oh, you're bashing, you're bashing, your mama black. Goofy. I mean, that's goofy stuff, man. Childish. I mean, very childish. And then you got these simp surfers on their surfing board, they causing chaos and, they come into men's spaces trying to shame you and, oh, you guys just ain't got no game, oh, you guys are lames, but they come on their simp surfing board, people in there like idiots. I'm saying this.
These men are coming together. They must be stopped. Who hurt these petty fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion.
Right. That's the issue that they're having. That's the issue that they're having. And they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to see the truth. And that's the problem that so many are having now in America. Hold tight. We're going to finish listening to it. Hold tight.
Got murder on my mind. Let's go. Got murder on my mind. I forgot the plan B. Ain't no cuffing me. You can't put me on the show outside with the team. All these having babies, but that ain't finna.
Blue Henrys outnumber Blake Henrys by a large amount. At least 5-1.
And that's in income. That's just income. That's not in sheer number of positions. So why is it that when you're owning a show, married that guy, and he built an empire? How many?
And the entitlement, the narcissism is at an all-time high. You guys are going to see in a few minutes where they'll tell you, unless he make a certain amount of money, I don't want him. You got chicks, I mean, that don't have no virtue, gave their virtue away for free. But they'll tell a man that if you make $40,000 to $50,000, you're not good enough. Okay, suppose that man said, well, you know, because relationship symmetry understands that what you want as a woman is not the same thing what a man wants. If you got kids by multiple men or you had so many bodies, then you just don't qualify. But see, it's no fun until the rabbit have the gun. You know, they always want to, you know, tell you how to be a man. They want to be the king. And they say, I'll let you be the king if you follow my rules instead of you being the king just because. But that's how the model woman is. And, you know, you may well be a fool to waste your time dealing with such women. Hold tight.
Her college educated, AKA Delta, you know, white collar. How many women today would skip right over George Jefferson?
And some of you men should be offended by it because my father was blue collar. Your grandfathers were blue collar. Many blue collar men paved the road for women to go to college. But you know, now being a blue collar man is something bad. It's something offensive because the entitlement and the narcissism of so many modern women. And that's why I tell you guys, I advocate for you to do what's best for you. That's why I'm so passionate about it because they're going to do what's best for them. And you will be a fool to wait around for dealing with subpar women that got horrible attitudes, a bunch of bodies, kids by multiple men. They've given their value away, but even at your best, you're not good enough because they have narcissism. Keep listening.
Do single, educated women have contempt or disdain?
Whatever you have to say.
And also, and I could be wrong. For my last point,
okay,
get your periods
off.
At least I
talk on the fucking panel. Check other people in the chat. Don't check me.
And also,
relax.
And that's my brother Anton. And, you know, I love Anton. And Anton is very positive. I used to joke with him. Anton got a jewel in his wife, a woman that was untouched, a woman that for the most part respects his leadership. But imagine with the money that Anton got trying to discipline something like that. I know Anton is very proud and he's, you know, Anton got a big ego like myself. And I love the brother. But Anton, you couldn't train a woman like that regardless of your money because you would end up damn losing your money and your sanity because, like I said, many of these women are imprinted, rebellious and very masculine. In other countries, she would not have the right or the temerity or the balls to disrespect men in Africa or Ghana or Nigeria or any other country in South America. Your mouth wouldn't be that slick. I promise you it wouldn't. Because see, femicide is real in other countries. And I'm not saying I'm an advocate for violence. I'm just saying that you will understand the code. Because if your mouth got slick in another country, they will give you that work on up to death. And I know because I've taught the natives. I've been in other countries. You don't disrespect men in other countries. But see, here in America, men have been so conditioned to take disrespect. We do it so much, we just think it's normal. We stay with women that challenge our authority. We stay with women that disrespect us as men. And this woman is on a panel that's ran by JR and also Anton. But, you know, I don't know if it's part of a skit or that's her being disrespectful. But they wonder why they come in last with that masculine attitude, that rebellious attitude. But folks say, oh, this, you know, let's save it. You can't save no damn, because this community is dead. It's done. It's been done for years, man. And it's going to get worse. Sadly, it's going to get worse.
What makes them think that they could talk to us like this, guys? Honestly, dog, let me say this before I really start kicking the table over. Let me say this before I start kicking the table over.
How old are you?
I am 57 years young.
51.
I am.
And guys, this is definitely despicable. You know, you got these women that are older and older age, and you're going to be not only embarrassed, but angered at the level of delusion and entitlement that they have, the narcissism. When your value, goes down as you get older. Because see, the thing with men is men work out, they eat healthy, they eat clean, they work out, they got the money right. An older man with status and money can get a younger, prettier woman. But as women get older, their value dips. Because what men want is not, it's tied to a different level of relationship symmetry. Her SMV is actually going down, his is going up. Because he's more refined as he gets older. But you got chicks that can't even give you a baby. They've had a lot of fun. They got a lot of trauma from being very promiscuous. The young folks call it Randrew. But they'll say this is what they want. This is what they want. But you're not giving that man nothing near what his damn grandfather and great-grandfather got. I'm going to tell you guys something. I know you guys don't want to hear it. I'm going to get back into it in a minute. But ask yourself the question, will my granddaddy settle for this? Will my great-great-grandfather settle for the modern woman? They will laugh at you and say, boy, what's wrong with you? See, a great-great-granddad, they got virgins. If they want virgins, they only had maybe one or two guys. But you got chicks now with entitled egos because they don't give a damn about what you want as a man, and they're giving you their used womb that they gave to others for free. They've been in a lot of relationships. They've looked past good men that they should have married years ago, but it was never enough because they always thought because they see you as a commodity to be subjugated. It's called the commodification of subjugation. I'm going to do a show on this at some point. And they just thought, well, I'll get a man at any point. Men will always be here, And you go marry her thinking you got something special. And after a while, maybe 5 years or 7 years at most, she's going to get bored. Oh, I don't feel like being married. I love you, but I'm not in love. And you sitting up like a fool after you've invested in something that's severely used and it's something that doesn't respect you as a man. And I want to make sure I say this because I'm not against a woman if she is humble. She made bad choices, but she's not entitled. I'm talking about entitled women. So let me be real clear. If you got a woman that's had a past, if you decide to be with that woman, you can accept her past. If you can love her through her past, then go for it. As long as it meshes with your value system. I'm going to say it again. If it meshes with your value system, then you get with that woman. If her past does not bother you, then go for it because y'all might be a perfect match. But I'm talking about entitled women. I'm talking about women that got horrible passes, but yet they still come in thinking they deserve the best. And then if you don't get with them, your mama black, you're insecure. They love to use the word insecure. And you say, yeah, I don't feel secure dealing with a woman with your damn kind of badge. So yeah, if that makes me insecure, yeah, I'm proudly insecure. Hold tight, guys, hold tight.
48.
You have any kids?
I have 2 adult kids.
I do. A daughter and grandson and 1 grandbaby on the way.
I have 2 grown sons. What kind of man you desire, girl?
I want the 6s. I want over 6 feet, over 6 figures, 6 inches, over 6 inches. And I know the people.
And she want a beast. A lot of these women want a beast. They said they want over 6 inches. But watch this. How would they know if 6 inches wasn't enough if they weren't promiscuous or if many weren't ran through? Let's say if they were virgins like their grandmothers or been with maybe 1 or 2 men, unless they got a lottery where the man was just endowed. The average penis is under 6 inches, according to some pundits. But they said they want 6 inches or more. And so you men are dealing with anxiety issues or you have bad self-esteem because you're dealing with women that have been severely ran through. And, but they think they're doing you a favor. Don't bring nothing to the table by attitude, baggage, and being imprinted by multiple men. Lack of self-awareness, ego-syntonia. They think that their dysfunction is normal, and they want you to settle for it because anytime men speak out against it, then they got a problem. I'm not saying the women abroad don't have issues too. I'm not saying that. But it's one thing to be a woman with a past and you're humble, and you told that man the truth, and you say, I made bad choices, but I get it. If you don't want me, I understand. You take accountability for your bad choices. But it's another thing that they come in narcissistic and entitled. And just like the Bible says in the book of Timothy, in the last days, they will be lovers of themselves. Lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. And that's the world that we live in. Some of you men are just better off either waiting until you get your wife abroad or just staying single or whatever. I'm not saying there are not a few good women out here, but they're hard to find if you're a traditional man, sadly.
People cringe when they hear those sixes, but that's what I want.
Yeah, one more time. He has to have $1 million.
Listen to this over the hill chick. He has to have $1 million. She's not a virgin. I'm sure she's been ran through. She probably got baggage. You can tell she's very narcissistic and entitled. But he has to have $1 million. Subpar to average women want the top 10 to 20% of men. They want the top 10 or 20% of men because they don't think that you are worth anything. They think that they're better than you because she said, I'll let you be the king as long as you understand that you are rep. And some of you men, you guys have been so conditioned with conditioning in America. You think, oh, well, I got something special. No, you don't. You don't have nothing special, brother. If you really knew the woman you're dealing with, some of you men would lose your minds. If you really knew what you were dealing with. If you really knew what she did in her past, it would mess your mind up. You won't be able to handle it because some of you guys are so locked up with blue pill conditioning. That's why when men go do what they go do, once they find out, they have what's called an existentialist crisis. It's synonymous to Dr. Kubler-Ross. They go through the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, depression, bargaining. The last stage is acceptance. And sometimes they vacillate between the two because they can't believe, I thought I had something special. No, you ain't got nothing special. you got a hyena. That's what you got. You know. Yeah, you got a hyena. You don't have nothing special. It's nothing special about it. Nothing. And that's why I tell you never fall in love. Love within reason, but never fall in love because falling is dangerous. Hold tight.
I'm not even dating him.
Average looking woman who's older. Average looking woman with a 13-year-old son with a sketchy baby daddy. And now you're asking for a man who's in the top 10% of men.
And shout out to the late, great Kevin Sanders, but he was correct. See, it's one thing called kosher hypergamy. I created that term, kosher hypergamy. I didn't create the word hypergamy, but the word hypergamy comes from the word monogamy. It's part of the gamete family, which means gametes. And gametes, that's basically means sex. So anytime you hear the word gamete, it comes from the word gametes. Gamete actually means sex. Monogamy or monogamy, polygamy or polygamy, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Monogamy, polygamy, hypergamy, or hypergamy. Kosher hypergamy is fitting proper. That woman says, I just want a man to love me, provide for me, and take care of my children. But she's not exploitative. She understands what our SMB is, and she just accepts that man for what he is. That's kosher hypergamy. It's fit and proper. But carnal hypergamy is exploitative. She thinks she deserves a top-tier man, but you don't meet his metrics. You overweight, multiple partners, kids by many men. You're not disciplined. You're not feminine. You have duck qualities instead of a swan. But yet you'll come to the table saying a man got to make $1 million. And, they got mad at this brother when he was alive. You come on his show asking him for advice, and then when he give you advice, you get mad. Because, many of these women are delusional. And as I said before, guys, earlier, many of these women have thinking errors called this. Yeah, they have thinking errors, and we're going to keep listening to it. Hold tight, guys. Hold tight.
Don't qualify for one. Why can't you just get a man that's an average guy?
I will be settling.
And listen what she said. She would be settling. She would be settling for an average guy, even though she's average or subpar based on her SMB. Older, more baggage, bad credit. She's not a swan. She's a duck. But anytime you say something to her, she'll get mad at you, and because they're deaf, because they deny the evidence, they become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue to ad hominem attacks, where they and then also they will fight you or flee because they cannot handle what you're saying. Because if you told them the truth and they allow themselves to let it marinate, they will go through what's called a psychic or a cognitive break, a psychic break, because they can't handle the truth. And once again, when you tell them the truth, guys, they'll say this.
Y'all already know what time. It's that time. What's up, dog? You already know.
You're despicable.
That's all, folks.
Yeah, and that's what ducks do when they can't measure up to being a swan. They'll say you're despicable, because they can't handle the truth. Ducks don't like the truth. A swan can handle the truth because a swan is elegant by nature. But, ducks, they can't handle the truth. They go out in the park, defecating everywhere, causing chaos, getting mad because they're not swans. They're not elegant like a swan. And I'm using this metaphor. But she said that she would be settling. But this same woman, if she was in Nigeria, she would be subpar, because in African countries, having children out of wedlock and being promiscuous is looked down upon. In some South American countries, she would be a nobody, maybe a 2. But she said she's damn settling. But, we say save the community with some of these ducks, not special women, but ducks, ducks. And I'm going to do a show at some point called Beware of the Duck. Yeah, I'm going to do a show called Beware of the Duck. But keep listening, because these are the issues, guys, that we have, indoctrinated by liberal policies as well.
Women, the best option for American men in the West? You decide.
A husband is your protection and provision. So, and I can't speak for all foreign women, but in those countries where there is no social programs, like, there's no EBT, there's no SNAP help, there's, no stimulus checks, none of that. There's no matriarchy. And I think that's a big issue here, is that women are told they deserve the world for just being women. And with that mindset, when you don't feel like you have to earn anything, the first man that comes up to you, you'll be like, well, what can you do to impress me? I'm the prize. I was told I was the prize since, I was 10 or so.
And once again, guys, shout out to Gail Nelson. Shout out to her. Shout out to that good sister. That's entitlement. Gail Nelson, and she's a very pretty woman, very soft. But pretty women like her in her country would probably just be an average woman. She's probably a 7 or 8 or at least an 8 in America. But in other countries, she's just cute or average. But she looks better than the typical American woman. And see, they get mad at women that are not ADOS because they're shaming them, because they're showing them how to be feminine women. But yet, you get mad at men when men decide to travel, or you say you don't, but really you do, because your motives are selfish. Some of these women say, I don't care what y'all do, we'll help you leave. Now, you don't want them to leave. You don't really want them, but you want them to be your supply because you are narcissistic. It's called a narcissistic supply. And when men decide to leave, you have what's called a narcissistic injury. You can't handle it because you're not getting that supply, that dopamine hit when you got 20 men that got low self-esteem in your DM calling you queen. Because see, you're the woman king and you want him to be the rat king. The rat king really doesn't have power. It's the illusion of power. But he thinks, oh yeah, she loves me. No, she don't love you, fool. You're just a rat. You're her rat. And she's going to continue to use you until you come to your senses. But in the meantime, guys, go feed the algorithm as we continue to finish this. And then I'm going to end the stream in a minute. Hold tight. All right, so we're going to finish listening to it. And, once again, I heard Shahrazad Ali say recently in an interview, she basically was saying more or less it's done. And we've been having these conversations, guys, when I was in high school. And that's been over 40 years ago. Well, at least 30 years ago. In the early 90s. But this has been going on back in the 80s, at least 40 years ago. But nothing has changed. It's gotten worse. And it's not that we're trying to be the bearers of bad news. Pragmatism says you got to let it burn. And it's sad. I wish I could have a better solution. I'm not saying we shouldn't stop trying to help those that need to be helped. But for the good men that are still around, if you can't find what you're looking for, and I think you can get a better deal abroad, I challenge you to travel abroad. You'll get a better deal. They're not perfect over abroad. They got issues too. They're getting influenced by the West as well. But your options, I think, will be a lot better because they're stronger in tradition. But 40 years ago, and we're still going through the same things 40 years later.
More than 40 years ago. Have things really changed? You decide.
Got your data from? On what basis?
Well, I studied us as a people. I interviewed black men and black women across the country. See, Phil, the problem we have here is one of behavior, interpretation, and definition. 99% of the black men say my book is true. We can't dismiss that, no matter what we think about it.
Well, 99%
I don't see.
The poll that I've taken out of my book.
Well, I don't see where.
And guys, this is what happens when men begin to speak. They tend to minimize. It's a thinking error. It's called the minimization of a problem. So it's the minimization of his pain. But when she's going through her issue, it's the magnification of her issues. And I talked about it several times once I started this YouTube channel. But it's the minimization of his pain. That's why so many men come in male spaces. And even though male spaces many times are loosely organized, they come into male spaces because they're trying to tell their story. In the clinical, we call it a catharsis. It's called the universality of brotherhood, where men come together to share their stories and their pain. But sadly, many, they don't listen. And they always try to minimize what men are saying, even though the evidence is clear. Hold tight. I think I jumped too fast. Hold on.
Yeah, you're upset at the challenge to her authority.
Well, I mean, I don't see where the question has any importance to what's going on.
Okay, hang on one second. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering, how did the white women's liberation movement hurt you? You mentioned that earlier.
Well, it did, because prior to that time, we were standing with our men and our children, trying to make a way for our families and get what we thought we deserved here in the form of equality and opportunity. But once we got on your side, then it made it appear as if we were just with women against men. That was because of the argument that you all had with the white man, which is not our business. I'm trying to deal with this. They could complement each other in each nationality. So we have to help rebuild our men. That's something that we do out of love.
Over here, Miss Holly.
You know, your book is very
And here, guys, she's probably a PhD. She don't understand how they were compromised, because once again, guys, she will have a desire for her husband. She will have a desire for her husband. A woman that's not disciplined spiritually, a woman that does not understand the assignment, could never be a wife. And many of the West are not wife worthy or wife ready because they don't understand their assignment. And you would be a fool, because I've seen it many times in therapy, men in sexist relationships. They pay bills, they do everything, and that woman is subpar. Some men have been in a sex relationship for years, some for months. And you're trapped once you say I do, because you all believe in this nebulous concept called love. Once again, you love her within reason, but if she can't love you through honor and respect, and unless she understands the assignment, you will be a fool. That's why if you get married, you need to get married in power instead of getting married in love. And getting married in power is getting with a woman that understands the assignment, a woman that's mature, and a woman that knows how to block out the static. And many don't know how to do it. And a woman that's spiritual, and a woman that's on her knees praying, and you praying with her and loving her and guiding her, because only a spiritual woman can consistently fight against the temptation to rebel against you as a man, because she wants the power. She wants to have the power in the relationship because she has a desire to have that power. And once again, she only respects power and strength. But Miss PhD here is rebellious. And that's like a lot of them are. They're very rebellious. Just like May on Chantel, very rebellious, ignorant. And they look down on you because they think they're better than you because, once again, guys, you're just a rat. But hold tight.
I've read Hakeem's book. I've read your book. Hakeem's book is about black men and women being complementary to each other, loving each other, supporting each other, dealing with the weaknesses and the strength and the positiveness. And his book is instructional. It's not a read-through, it's a study. It's not a destruction, it's a manual for African-American men and women and children. All I have heard from you is negativity. This is what I call the black man's guide to misunderstanding the black woman.
So say black women can't be trusted in the presence of strange men for very long, meaning that if they see a man, they're going to take off with him.
Well, familiarity doesn't just breed contempt, it can sometimes breed desire.
But that means the black woman has loose morals.
Well, we learn them.
What makes you the authority? Where'd you get all your information from?
I'm introduced with the book. It's sometimes taken a bit out of context. What I'm saying, I have not said that black women are the total...
And you can present them with comprehensive truth. You can present them with comprehensive facts, and they'll still move the goalposts. They'll still say, oh, I need another study, because they don't want to hear the truth. Because, see, truth now is the new hate. It's a new hate, guys. And you just got to ask yourself the question, how long will I tolerate the madness? How long will I tolerate the meta madness? And dealing with women in the West, regardless of their ethnic hue, sadly for many guys, it's a waste of time. White men are getting the same behaviors as black men. But like, you know, Tavis Smiley always say that when white America get a cold, black America, it gets the flu. And it's just the way it is, guys. Sad. Hold tight. We'll listen to it, and then I'm gonna finish in the stream.
Cause of all of the problems of the black man and in the black community. What I'm saying is that we are 50% responsible for all the problems in our community. We have never accepted responsibility for any of it. I'm saying that the black man is 50% responsible and the black woman is 50% responsible and the white power structure is 100% responsible.
With all due respect, Scheherazade, this book lifted, not out of context, but every quote.
My position is that the black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in our black family structure. Now, of course, there are many black people who consider those fighting words because...
And see, guys, what the greater issue is for many, not all, shout out to the good sisters. I do believe in supporting good women. There are some good sisters that are striving and trying. And I commend you for your efforts. I do. I really commend you. So I'm not here to castigate. There are some good sisters that are trying and they're waking their eyes up and they understand the issues in our world. But see, for so long, some of our women have been without reproach. And the gospel say being instant in and out of season, exhort, rebuke, and reprove. There's a time to lift him and her up. There's a time to rebuke, meaning you correct them. And there's a time to reprove, which means to teach. But you can't do, you know, in America, the only thing they want is exhortation. You know, yeah, child, you know, queen, you know, mother goddess, you know, you're special, you know, yeah, child. You know, just like when Tia Mowry got her divorce, you know, you had the support, the exhortation committee that was telling her, yeah, girl, do your life. But they don't understand what men go through when men suffer in silence when she decides to divorce him because I don't love him anymore. And I don't know all the ins and outs to their marriage, but I'm just giving you guys a general framework. But this is the world that we live in there, guys. We're going to finish listening to this clip and I'm going to end the stream in a minute. But that's why I'm so passionate. That's why I'm so passionate, because I see it in practice all the time. And I can be an advocate for men, especially brothers, but also white men and black men, because our struggles now are similar. Our struggles are similar, guys. Hold tight.
As black women, we have never been subject to the kind of examination that our men have been subject to since we have been here. We have been somewhat protected and shielded from any kind of critiquing about our personal behavior, whereas our men have always been up for examination. The book
is not an attack on black women. I have never said that all black women do everything that I list in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything that I list in the book, but most of us do some of the things that I've listed in my book. It's on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. You know, over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. You know them women that had men if they got a bunch of children. They need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in.
And that's it, guys. You see it. Meta Madness. What were they thinking about when they were doing what they were doing? And what are you thinking about as you continue to allow them guys to do to you the things that you find to be irreprehensible? The only solution, guys, is to save yourselves. That's the only solution. And the way you do that is by loving yourself, removing yourself from the detractors that say that, you know, you can't or don't deserve to be loved, honored, and respected. And even though I don't understand all the idiosyncrasies of SYSBM, I do believe it's a viable outcome that's more or less predicated on Dr. Wim Glasser. And Dr. Wim Glasser talked about his psychoanalytic model called reality therapy. It's in what's called choice theory. You have the choice to do what's best for you. It's predicated on power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival. Those are the 5 elements that many men in the West said that they're not getting. And the way you get your power back is by choosing. The gospel say, choose ye this day who you may serve. And so, guys, I'll leave you with it on that note. Support the stream, guys. If you have not supported the stream, go ahead and donate now at Cash App $7 Smalls. It takes time to do these shows. I'm about to head to the office in a minute or later tonight. And if you're in need of a non-diagnostic consultation where I'm giving you parameters around your issues, come see me at coachyourclinician@gmail.com. So the only solution, guys, once again, is for you to love yourselves, but also the only viable solution now with the understanding that women abroad got issues too, that if you don't uncover to recover here in America, you'd be simping over there as well, that you got to understand the laws and the mores of that culture in those countries as well. But I've seen the joy and I've seen the pain when men leave because they're dealing with affection deprivation. And some of you married men, you're stressed out in America because some of you guys are in marriages and, you're frustrated. And many of you guys, you're doing this. You're married and you're still alone because, you ain't had sex in 5 years. She don't take care of her shape. Because, see, when you go to Latin countries, those women, they say, I'm going to keep my figure for my man because they know the competition is stiff. But, see, they don't think you're worthy of being competed for. They just think you're supposed to pay their bills, take care of their kids, and shut your mouth up because, see, you can't be the king unless you allow the woman king. Because, see, you think you're the king, but you're really just the rat king, and she's really the king of that relationship, even though it's oxymoronic. She's telling you what to do because she's manipulating you. So the best and the viable option, guys, as I said, is only this.
I'm tired of America, so I'm hitting Richie on the net. I got the tickets, that's a bet. We need to link, my brother set it up. Damn, I didn't had enough. Ooh, I won't lie. Can I get a little shake with them fries? My skin tone is matching your eyes. Black men, you know we like them thighs. And baby, she can do it all. Your land is my land. Cut through.
All right. We signing off. I love you, brothers and sisters, the good sisters that are listening. And once again, Meta Madness, what were they thinking about when they were doing what they're doing? So we're signing off. Go support the stream, subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. And I need you guys to do me a favor before you guys sign out. Go hit that like button because that robot needs to be fed.
Pain. I've been there. Locked up inside my head. Broken from fear, illusions, disappointment, and hopelessness. Who heard me in my silence, where being a man means nothing? Despair. I've been there too. Desperately seeking answers for the questions associated with manhood. Hills and valleys, too bleak to compare. Stress. Suffering in a utility silo. No comfort, no security. No freedom, no justice. Just do it for others. Challenges. Who will help me break the challenges? Lost in the vortex of darkness, hopelessness, fear, and abandonment. I've been there too. I've been there too. Take the next step to your destiny. Join me in this fight. Walk forward. Deep breaths. Head held high, men. Come join me, men, in the winds of time. Stories, hopes, visions, purified in the fire. I'm not a superhero. And I'm not the Reverend Knight. I'm here to help you. Join me, men, in this fight. Break the chains of your mind. Let's do it now. For now is all we have.
Fire for your mind. The kosher clinician.